Hey, what's up, music world? This is August C. Jones here. And so I wanted to talk about what you clicked on this video about. And it's me answering as best as I can the question that a lot of people are asking, and even myself, is Kendrick really on the clock? Now, we're like more than a month removed from when Kendrick dropped his scathing verse, or I'm in love with the word scathing, but when he dropped the like that verse, talking about fuck the big three, it's just big me, and throwing shots at both Kendrick and Cole. I mean, throwing shots at Drake and Cole, and getting to where we had a J. Cole diss record pulled like afterwards, but still we had a J. Cole diss record. Then we had two Drake diss records dropped toward Kendrick. But as of right now, we have yet to hear anything from Kendrick. I don't know if he's really been saying anything on social media, but it's gone real quiet. And so the question will, right on the surface, you would think that, like, yeah, he is on the clock, you know? But when you really look at it, so with a lot of things, I'm of two minds. So I'll say that he's not on the clock in one sense, in one aspect. Basically just because when you look at the time it took for not only J. Cole, but Drake to respond when he did that. And I know a lot of people like to give Drake the credit and be like, oh, well, Drake, he was on tour. Now, like, fuck all that. From what I understand, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. Lil Wayne was working on one of his albums while he was on tour. I think he had like a studio on the tour bus or whatever. So it's like, when you're a person that does music as much as Drake, I'm pretty damn sure that a lot of artists like that may have a studio or something on the bus to where they're working, where they can like dip off, do something real quick, blah, 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 chop it up and call it a day. So to say that because he was on tour, that was like somehow an excuse, it's no excuse. It's like you had more than enough time. And so it's like when somebody throws something at that and it take you 3 weeks to respond, you're not on that clock. Just because he put out 2 records within a week span now from push-ups, and then dropping, what's the word? It was a tailor-made freestyle. It was like, that still doesn't define Kendrick being on the clock. Because Drake essentially took his time to respond, even though, and you can put like all the other elements, like, oh, well, he's talking about such and such, like, no. If you're really a battle rapper, if you're really a person that's about that life, then when it comes to doing something like that in a timely manner, then you're supposed to do that. And Drake didn't do that. And so, I'm sorry, I had to back up a little bit. But, so I would say when you're looking at that, I don't think that puts Kendrick on the clock. Because even J. Cole had a little bit of time before, he dropped his diss record or whatnot, even though it was part of an EP or whatever. I mean, the thing is like, these diss records don't have to be part of the project. J. Cole chose to put that song of his on the project or whatever. He didn't have to. He could have just simply made it just, whatever, just a little freestyle. Maybe it could have been 16, 32, 48 bars, whatever, and then just threw it out. Just over any type of beat, or maybe a beat that he had laying around that he had made maybe a while back. It could have been something like that. So the time thing, it doesn't matter nowadays. Because like I said before, back in the day, you used to have to respond within 24 to 48 hours. The quicker you respond is going to add points to you battling. It's going to add points to you, like saying, damn, I didn't even need that much time to come up with some shit to like just cook you with. I only took like about 12 hours and I'm back at your ass. Like, that's really what it was before. But nowadays, the whole music industry, artists, branding, and everything else plays a major factor into everything. So I can say it's vastly different than what it was even like in the 2000s, you know. So I can say that plays a role. But the only thing that I would say that kind of sort of puts Kendrick on the clock is this. So when he put out the Control verse, even though Drake came from a place of hating, when that dropped, he seemed like he was the only rapper that was a part of that, like that part of that group that had their name said. He was the only rapper that caught feelings from it, who felt some type of way, you know. Everybody else is like, yeah, it's competition, shit, whatever. But Drake, even though coming from a place of bitterness and sensitivity, made a good point. You know, basically saying that, like, yeah, well, you know, he dropped that verse, but I mean, what now? You know, and that was my mind frame even back then. I was talking to people back then, and I was just saying, like, well, he's gonna have to show and prove. He said all this stuff, how he's gonna do this and do that. He's going to have to show that he's doing that. He's going to have to prove it. He's gonna have to get in that booth. He's gonna have to drop albums, features, whatever. He's gonna have to be on Drake, on what Drake is doing. And he didn't do that. It was like he said that, but went back to kind of like just doing his own little thing at his own pace and own time. And so you can look at the Control verse as like it's going in vain. Not 100%, but a lot of it, maybe over 50% went in vain, because it's like he didn't really, to me, and looking back in hindsight, didn't really do anything critical. Like, he still put up there as one of the best or top MCs, artists or whatnot in hip hop, but when you're looking at the expectation after the Control verse, and then you look at everything he's done all the way into to date, you kind of be like, yeah, he kind of just did that for the shock factor of like him just saying the names. He didn't really prove it afterwards. So it kind of echoes now when you're looking at the Like That verse. He dropped that verse talking about, and the thing is, we can get past it if it was just him throwing shots or whatnot. But if it wasn't for the lines where he said, fuck the big three, it's just big me. That's where it kind of puts it in the same lane as the Control verse. Because even though he didn't say as much as he said on the Control verse, in this case, less is more. He's basically saying the same thing. He's saying, fuck J. Cole, fuck Drake, it's me. I am it. And so we all know that in order to be the man, you have to beat the man. And when you're looking at maybe not quality, but the effects, the impacts that he has in the game, and I know a lot of people throw around his stimulus package and everything. When you're looking at that, Drake is the #1 artist in like hip hop right now. And I mean, I guess you can weave through like pop and R&B as well, but like when it comes to rap and hip hop, Drake is up there as far as sales, as far as popularity, as far as numbers. I mean, sales and numbers or whatever, but just as far as like a lot of stuff, breaking records and all of that. So it's like with Kendrick putting out that verse, and it's taken this long for him to really like respond to either J. Cole, even though J. Cole apologized and took down his record or whatnot. It's like it still took him a long time to respond. He hasn't responded yet. Drake put out 2 diss records, still haven't responded. We haven't heard not one word. Rick Ross, within a few hours of Drake dropping push-ups, even because he threw shots at him on there, he responded to it. It wasn't a great diss record. I don't even know if you really can count it as a diss record. It just sounds like a regular freestyle, regular record. But regardless of that fact, Rick Ross came in quick with the response, and we're still waiting on Kendrick. And so I would say it kind of does put him on the clock. It would be one thing if Drake was just throwing out like the crazy shot or whatnot and just went in on Kendrick for whatever reason, and then Kendrick is taking his time. But when you're the one who's initiating it, when you're the one who started it, when you're the one who threw the first punch, but now you're taking forever to swing back after that person then swung on you, then yeah, like something needs to happen soon. Now, I know it's rumors about Kendrick probably coming out with an album soon, as soon as maybe like next month. But even still, it's like you making us wait. You threw this shot. People excited now. J. Cole came out with it. Drake came with it. And now we're just waiting on you. We haven't heard not one word from a Kendrick. And it's like, I would say with that, it does put him on the clock, but it doesn't put him on like a fast clock. Like he doesn't need to respond within 24 to 48 hours, of course. We're long past that. But I feel like when it comes to that, yeah, Kendrick, he needs to come out. He needs to come out sooner rather than later. He needs to go ahead and just drop the record. Like, fuck trying to do the whole, album rollout or whatever. Just drop a track, man. Just do it, because the longer you're having people waiting, I feel like it's going to work against Kendrick if he cannot deliver upon the expectation that's expected of him. Because when we're waiting, it's a lot of people that thinking that Kendrick is just gonna rip Drake apart. Like he's got something so nuclear, he got this ether that he's gonna drop on him. And so if it's less than what the expectation of it for with us waiting so long, it's going to reflect badly on him. And so, I know a lot of people talking about the fact that Kendrick hasn't been really shown to be battle tested. When you're looking at people like even a Drake, you may not like him, you may not respect Drake, however your feelings is about him, Drake is battle tested. Drake has been throwing shots for years. He has gone toe to toe with Pusha T and other people, toe to toe with Kanye, and so he is in a sense battle tested when it comes to this shit. So we have history for Drake that he knows how to handle himself in these type of situations. Kendrick, we haven't seen him in these type of situations. And I can say that does count against him, but not 100%. I'm not going to count him out completely, because one thing that I can think about is Saigon. I don't know if you guys know who Saigon is, but he's like, I guess you could say he's an underground rapper. He's not really known, but he is a phenomenal rapper. I don't really listen to him like that, but in any case, check him out if you can. But him and Joe Budden went at each other. And I don't know if Saigon has had diss records for people before, if he's ever really dissed anybody. But him and Joe Budden went at it on the track, and Saigon handled himself to the point where Saigon made this song called Pushing Buttons. And if you know me, you know Joe Budden as an artist is one of my favorite artists of all time. And so Saigon made that song Pushing Buttons. And he did his thing. I fucks with that song today. Like, he went at Joe's neck. He went for the head. He was like, he's coming in and he's not playing. So that says to me that even though we haven't had a history, we haven't seen you obliterate anybody, eviscerate anybody on the track, in a freestyle or anything like that, it doesn't exclude you from doing it. And so, but it does give a little bit more to Drake because he does have that battle experience, rather than giving that to Kendrick, who we know he is a great rapper. He's a phenomenal rapper, but we don't know how he does going toe to toe in a battle rap, you know. So I'll just say that, yeah, Kendrick is on the clock, and it's more so for him because he needs to do something. He needs to come out with something that's going to shut people up and shut Drake up, and he needs to like do it like within the next, I say, by the beginning of next month, within the next couple weeks. He's gonna need to do this, because if he doesn't, then it's like, I don't know, interest is, and I can only speak for myself, interest with me is starting to fade on this whole battle. He's taking too long to respond. He doesn't have to respond within like 2 to 3 days or anything else, or the same day, but at least respond within a timely manner, and he hasn't. So after a while, we're just gonna be, as fans, that's wanting to see this battle take place and happen, and we want to see who the victor, because it is more than just a win-loss that's at stake. It's the crown. It's the #1 spot. Whoever loses this cannot claim that #1 spot. So it's like we're wanting to see a battle, and it's like we need to see where Kendrick is at. But I don't know. But yeah, Kendrick is on the clock. He needs to, before interest just completely just fades away and people start losing faith in Kendrick in this, unless he's really coming in with like some nukes that's going to like really just turn into an ether that will put Drake in a position where he can't respond. But I guess we'll see into the end. But in any case, that has been my my thoughts on the whole Kendrick being on the clock thing. If you made it this far, thanks. And go ahead and give me a like, subscribe if you're not, and hit that notification bell for more videos like this. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. So peace out, stay safe, and yeah, man. Kendrick, go ahead, hit us with that diss record, man. We waiting. Time is a ticking.